underlying heart problems. It's the day of my father's funeral. We have to stream it since we're a month into the pandemic. And there must be something wrong with my heart too. All I can think about is my pot of geraniums, how someone stole it from my window while I slept, how someone eyed its red bloom, thought, I'll have that and the cheap pot it's in, and walked off into the jaundiced night. I picture it now, thirsting in a weed-struck yard, on a balcony delighting a row of empty mayonnaise jars, dropped on its side in the playground by the supermarket, its heart of soil collapsing into dark. I file a police report, theft, 1 plant, interrogate the blackened spot where it sat as if stained paint can explain the thudding absence. I should leave a note. Please bring back my geraniums. Please have mercy and don't take the others. Please take them all if they bring you joy in this piteous time. Please send help. I'm over here drowning in metaphor. My dad was a big prayer, and his prayers always began, Dear Heavenly Father. This is called Dear Heavenly Father. Of course I pray, but not in your way. Yet who more than you taught me to pray here at the church of the sky, to kneel in dirt, bless the gentle worms, millipedes, pill bugs, all our friends in the soil. I tell my gratitude like beads, tell it to the gold-husked bees, the dandelion weeds I leave to flower, for earth, father, for bread, mother, for butter and salt, sister and brother. Prayer blossoms in my mouth like wine, holds up the day as a chalice blessed, fleshes hollow cells with pip and pith. You left your words in our hands to shell, shuck and gather, so we unwrite, rewrite. How your prayers roused sleeping heaven, stirred seraph and trumpet, how you shouldered off past the spitting waves and took flight just as the world was beginning to end. Scant ground. He always asks me if I have a garden, for on this ground only can we avoid quarrel. And I again explain that space in the city belongs to the rich, explain student loans, mortgages, interest rates. He asks me when I got to be so dumb, explains again the economy of seeds. I scan my little patch of ground, my bit of earth, so bricked and gridded nothing will grow. The cramped soil winces at my trowel edge, peels like old lino, coughs its bones bare, and breathes a clean, dirty smell to root in. In this narrow plot, I plant his words, pull weeds, bless rain, his hand on my shoulder like air. I'll just read one more little one and then hand over to Hels. Thank you to everybody who's come along this evening, and of course to Isabel for publishing us, organizing us, and generally being an amazing editor and advocate for writers. So one more little poem. This is for autumn when the dark nights start to draw in. It's called Solstice. I don't mind the dark so much going home as the days tilt us further from the light. The shiver of air crossing the river, thunder from fog-plumed highways, far-off trains necklacing the night. I miss cars in darkness seen from a plane, reassuring red lights traveling towards someone, little houses cradled in snow, warm furniture, cats testing the edges of themselves, waiting for you. Thank you.
This is The Reservoir. I am the exposition lady, picking up the phone as I shout, in too much detail as I hang from a window for better signal, a clearer message, within earshot of the handsome man who will claim credit for knowledge gleaned from my call, as I explain in still too much detail to the men on the end of the phone and the men on the streets and the men in the audience, that my best guess is that 1 in 5 people who drank the infected water will in fact drop dead. And yes, their festering corpses will become toxic, but no, the science has not yet confirmed that that toxicity will become airborne. So please just hold tight and definitely don't drink the water. And no, don't touch the bodies. And no, why would you do that anyway? And yes, what we really need is a hero, but no, we don't know where to find one. And damn it, where are all the heroes when we need them? Someone bold and brave with medical training and a hazmat suit and rippling abs under the hazmat suit and hair that doesn't move. Someone unflappable needs to come and put a stop to this. And damn it, they need to get to the reservoir quick. They need to cut off the city's water supply, and then my phone will beep, beep, beep. The battery will run low and I will sigh. And I cannot use my knowledge to save the world because I am but a woman on a phone providing exposition, and I will never get the credit for saving your asses. But for God's sake, if nothing else, please just get to the reservoir. Thank you. This next one is called Extremely Cursed and is inspired by my love of particularly trash horror films. I am the exposition lady, and I will visit you in a dream to let you know about a curse set about by the ancients, a curse so dark and so disturbing. Your blood will curdle, your skin will crawl. A curse from the ancients, so vague and so variable. It could be anything, at any time. So you will ignore the warnings I offer as madness of a simple crone or a haunted witch, an invisible older woman, until one day it's too late. And you search your mind for details and you search the room for clues, and your girlfriend, your precious girlfriend, is screaming as she packs, as she reminds you of the words, and her face contorts to mine, and still you do not listen to your girl, your beautiful girl, your now ex-girl, your final girl, who will live on in the words of advice that I died to bring you and which you did not hear.
We have one from Sia and Rachel, and she says, which poets do you consider yourself in dialogue with? So perhaps we'll start with Hels on this one.
That's such an interesting question. Oh, goodness me. I suppose I'll speak to in the context of this book rather than more broadly. I think in writing this, a lot of inspiration came from The World's Wife, for a start, but also there's a Kathy Ulrich book called, I've forgotten the name of it, Ghosts of You, which is a series of Flash, actually, which is about being the murdered girl. And I think that's where a lot of my inspiration came from. In terms of the themes within the book, I think there might actually be some sense of responding not just to tropes that you see in films, but the way that women are written about more broadly. And so I don't know if it's dialogue so much as an argument, but with a lot of the older, more traditional male poets who turn up on school curricula, I feel like there's something there as well. I don't know how helpful that answer is.
I think that's really cool. And I think a lot of the time people say what poets are you inspired by, which is slightly different to this question. But like you saying, Helen, that, things can inspire you, they're actually a completely different genre, like flash fiction, I think the things that inspire you are not necessarily in that genre, or they're not necessarily the things that make you put pen to paper. But it's quite nice to have that sort of overlap of different genres and inspirations. And what about yourself, Jo, if you thought about what poets you might be in dialogue with when you're writing?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a kind of nerdy English teacher thing, because I'm constantly teaching poetry, and I think if you've ever been taught by me, you can probably read this book and work out who I was teaching at any given time. Certainly Gerard Manley Hopkins features significantly, and a lot of this stuff was written while I was teaching Hopkins. And you know, there's a specific response to him in the book. But it's wide ranging, actually. I think it's there's a lot of sort of, not directly in any kind of dialogue with Plath, but I think Plath sort of simmers under a lot of this stuff, actually. Caroline Duffy as well. Seamus Heaney, in a weird kind of way, I think he's sort of always in the back of my head. And more recently, Sean Hewitt, who I think sort of merges the best of, like, he merges sort of Hopkins and Heaney in a really wonderful queer way.